How much does it take to get people's attention? I was amazed by the comments I received on multiple platforms yesterday that we just need to stay out of the Iran-Israel conflict. America is continually arguing about whether Iran has a nuclear weapon or not. But yet Iran just aired footage. Their so-called nuke on full display. And yet, mainstream media doesn't cover it. As President Trump warns of an impending war, Tulsi Gabbard questions the intel. We have that whole little battle going on. There's such a bigger picture to this. The regime in Tehran just sent a terrifying message to the world. Now, whether it's real or propaganda, yet to be determined. But it demands a global response. But instead, they just keep the American people in the dark, but we don't do that here. We dig deeper. I can't tell you how many profiles I watch, how many news sources I read, and it's the reason why I'm able to bring you things that no one else can. I will now expose to you what they won't show you and what the footage really means. Not the traditional broadcast I do. No, we're going right to the headline story, and I'll bring you that in 1 minute. Start with a question before I get into the substance of this broadcast. Do you believe that Iran has a bomb or not? A nuke, plain and simple. Do you believe what I'm about to show you is an indication of something real, a real threat, or is it just all propaganda? You could debate Trump, you could debate Tulsi, but when a hostile regime broadcasts a nuke to the world, the conversation changes, and yet your nightly news didn't even blink. That's not journalism. No, that's collaboration. And I have a big freaking problem with that. Deep breaths, right? And by the way, are you subscribed to the channel yet? Make sure you are. Make sure your bell is checked all so you're alerted to upcoming broadcast. You know, we spend a lot of time here covering waste, fraud, and abuse, but what drives me insane is media collaboration, not providing you the news that matters. There's enough waste, fraud, and abuse out there, right? So I work day and night to provide you the truth. But you know, sometimes I want to do more for you. I want to provide you more resources. So I went out searching. How can I help my audience more? And I came across someone called Chapter. Because if you're on Medicare or someone you know is on Medicare, you need to get to know them. Because Medicare's a mess. We cover it every day, right? How much red tape, how much information. It's almost impossible to navigate. Complicated, confusing, full of government waste, fraud, and abuse, as I just mentioned to you. That's where Chapter steps in, and why I was so happy when I found them. They're hands down the best Medicare advisor out there. Real experts who go through every single plan you qualify for in your area. The average person who works with Chapter saves $1,100 per year. And best part, it doesn't cost you a penny. The phone call is absolutely free. Call the phone number on the screen. It's that simple. Also in the description box below, you'll see some more information. No robots, no pushy salespeople, just real people who actually pick up the phone. And if you've called some customer service lines lately, you know, heck, you don't know who you're talking to or what you're talking to. So again, call 805-619-5011. The call, again, 100% free. And so, peace of mind? Seriously, why are you leaving money on the table? Call Chapter right now. Headline read, there is a surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries. Now, it's not nighttime yet there. Not in Iran. But hold for this, because I'm going to rip you through some information. Whopping majority of Americans oppose U.S. military involvement in conflict between Israel and Iran. Wasn't that timely? You see, any time we look to defend the great Republic of the United States of America, increase our sovereignty, or assure our better defense, there's always an opposing pole against it, isn't it? It's amazing. But let's not do real journalism. Let's not dig into what Iran just posted. Not just progressives. Over half of Trump voters oppose U.S. war in Iran. Do you? If you do, you might change your opinion by the end of this broadcast. The battle begins posted yesterday. See, what I do day in and day out is I follow multiple sources, not just what I read on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, because if you do that, you're only looking through the window that they provide you from the supreme leader of Iran. The first thing I'd like to say is to praise the behavior of our beloved nation in the matter that the enemies recently brought upon our country. In this recent incident, our beloved nation showed that it is both steadfast, courageous, and timely. The incident of the Zionist regime's stupid and malicious invasion of our country occurred while government officials were indirectly negotiating with the American side. See, it's hard to disseminate truth from propaganda now, isn't it? During the negotiations, there was no indication from Iran that there was a military move or a harsh move. Of course, it was suspected from the beginning that America was involved in this malicious move by the Zionist regime, aka he's referring to Israel. But with these recent statements, this suspicion is growing stronger day by day. Coming after, there is a surprise tonight that the world will remember from centuries coming out of Iranian state-run media. So what is America doing in preparation? They are assuring the embassy is secure and empty. Israel continues its attacks. Now the military pressure joined by cyber attack an Iranian regime bank. If you go to draw money now, the ones that are funding the IRGC and law enforcement forces, well, your money's been taken away. Another maneuver by Israel. Now Israel's gone to the UN, which they're wasting their time trying to plead their case. They will never side with Israel. Iran has a strategic plan to eliminate Israel. Do you agree or don't agree with that? Because if you don't, you haven't been following these chats. Trump comes out. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran has good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to the American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out, kill him, at least for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He changed the rhetoric slightly there. Now he goes to missiles shot at civilians. Now, this could be a ploy, very well could be. If you're fighting a bully, you have to punch harder, and Trump is the best to do that. But don't worry, Iran has a counter. Unconditional surrender demanded by President Trump, and I told you Iran would not accept that. And I'll show you that they didn't accept it. No, they did something far worse. We now have the exiled crown prince of Iran coming back out, saying the Islamic Republic has come to an end and is falling. What has begun is irreversible. The future is bright, and together we'll navigate this sharp turn in history. Now is the time to stand. It is time to take back Iran. May I be with you soon once again. Now, we could go through the entire history of the Shahs of Iran, but I'm going to leave that on the side for right now, because there would be conflicting information if the Iranian people support the current regime or not. If you listen to the regime, they support them 1,000,000%. If you listen to outside news sources, it is a divided nation. But the same could be said about us right now, couldn't it? So that is why I am pushing that aside, because I want to get to the heart of the matter. Trump considers strike on Iran ahead of crucial White House Situation Room meeting at 1 p.m. The meeting happened. We don't find out anything, not yet. Can't telegraph your maneuvers, right? But Iran responds, is preparing missiles for possible retaliatory strikes on U.S. bases if America was to get involved. You see, you got two bullies fighting now, don't you? But fighting over something rather important. Obtaining a nuclear weapon. Period. It shocks me. How many people don't want to stop that? Based on the comments and opinions I see, stay out of it, stay uninvolved, because if Iran had it and they had the range to fire at America, you truly don't think they would do that? What are they going to do? Fire into Israel? That would affect their own people in Gaza. Maybe they are crazy enough to do that. But no, those targets will more than likely be elsewhere, and more than likely have an American flag waving over them. If you truly believe that, well, I'm going to give you a little bit more information to potentially change your opinion. But first, Ted Cruz, I know I go back and forth on this man too. But nonetheless, at least he's got this one spot on.
Iran is not researching nuclear technology because the Ayatollah is worried about climate change. He's researching nuclear technology for one reason: to create nuclear warheads to be able to murder as many Israelis as he can and as many Americans as he can.
Well, that statement I couldn't agree with more. But America's still having trouble consuming this because it's not true. It's not reality. That's not what's happening. We got to stay out of it. We got to stay out of the conflict.
Mr. President, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon. But how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
And that is the argument, right? Are they close to having one? Do they have one or not? And America is divided on this, allegedly. Trump pushes further, and why he is not calling for a ceasefire anymore.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end, a real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Yeah, or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible in the next 24
Why not? Certainly possible.
Okay, so there you go. Another talking point, right? Is he truly pushing for an end? And what does that end look like? Because if you're going to push for an end against Iran, you can't show any restraint. So maybe this is all just to get a negotiated peace settlement. Iran will never surrender, and U.S. intervention will be met with irreparable damage coming out of Iran from the supreme leader himself, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But I want to validate it for you. Intelligent people who know, and the nation and history of Iran will never speak to this nation in threatening language because the Iranian nation cannot be surrendered. Argument validated. So what's your solution if you say we shouldn't get involved? Just let Iran destroy Israel, sit back, and then not believe for a minute that they won't further enrich uranium, create long-range ballistic missiles that could drop a warhead directly on the U.S. simply because we stayed out of the conflict? Some people truly believe that, and I struggle with that argument. Now Russia coming out, ominous warning Trump against bombing Iran, and Ayatollah vows to never surrender after White House gave them 48 hours to avoid U.S. onslaught. You see, there's a timeline on this, and that timeline is tomorrow. That's why Iran came out and said their timeline is tonight. It's all going to happen, folks, within the next 24 to 48 hours, if it happens at all, because Israel's also told you that.
We've pulled off a number of surprises. When the dust settles, you're going to see some surprises on Thursday night and Friday that will make the beeper operation almost seem simple.
Everybody states. Now, why would they give away the timeline? You wouldn't do that in warfare. No, you wouldn't. Unless you're trying to come to a settlement, you're showing maximum force, hoping that you'll get a response out of Iran or prove to the rest of the world that Iran chose not to comply before the next step. Iran threatens surprise. The world will remember for centuries, and I showed you that. And I showed you the posts to support it coming out of Iran state media, but it is worse than is being reported to you. The Ayatollah himself, the battle begins. The imagery underneath is Israel being destroyed. But we're supposed to sit back and do nothing. We're not supposed to defend Israel at all. Just let it happen, stay out of the conflict. So let's go a step further, shall we? Also coming out of one of the Ayatollah's accounts. No big deal. Just missiles, explosions. This isn't anything. It's just propaganda. They're showing how tough they are. They won't do anything. Just sit back and let it happen. Stay out of the conflict. That's coming out of their state. That's coming out of one of the Ayatollah's accounts. But let's move forward into one of the state-run media accounts, because they took this imagery to a whole new level. Iran News Agency, Iran State Media, the voice of the Islamic Republic of Iran in the Arab world, officially licensed by the Ministry of Culture and Islamic Guidance. I don't know how much more of a centrifuge I could show you right now, a centrifuge of activity, because that intelligence flawed. We've been hearing for years that they've had a nuke. They've never had one. Well, the propaganda or threat now tells you otherwise, because they've televised it. So now what say you? Was that simply propaganda? The same question, do you believe that footage was a real threat or just propaganda? Because there's so many Americans who just want us to sit back on our hands and let it all go down. Well, the Trump administration's trying to determine the same thing right now. So it's a battle not only in the streets across America, but in the White House itself. You could sit there and debate, is the footage real? Is the threat real? The threat is what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about anything other than the consequences. And the media continues to lie to you with their silence, because that's still a form of lying, but not providing you the entire story. How are you supposed to debate the actual talking points if you're not provided the information? We are in the midst of a war. There's no denying that. And Iran has only one outcome they want. They despise America. The Iranian regime does. The people are divided. But as I stated before, so are we. But that doesn't mean you can ignore reality. You can't just ignore consequences. America, wake up. Do you really think for a minute if we simply step out, Iran will not target us anymore? They'll forgive and forget and put up their arms in a great embrace of love and adornment for the United States of America? Come on, folks. That is the furthest thing from reality that will ever happen. But I'm going to continue forward now, give you all the daily news that's occurred. If you're at Restricted Republic, that's where I'm going to air it. And I got a message from the Ayatollah himself. Oh, you don't think I have more footage for you, huh? Oh, I do. And we're going to continue that story at restrictedrepublic.com in just a minute. To all of you, I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. Signing out.